Okay, good day. I hope that everyone is safe despite of this calamity. Uh, no worries if you have some questions regarding the assignment. Basta mag-submit na lang kayo. Tinanggalan ko na siya ng deadline. Or I mean, may deadline pa rin siya, pero you can still submit kahit late. I just want to be fair to those who can submit it on time or earlier. So, of course, there will be extra credits for them. Okay? So, we will be talking about our next topic, and it's about the board of directors, role of the board of directors. Now, siguro marami sa inyong nag-iisip pag tinanong, sino bang mas mataas? Si CEO o si board of directors? Right? So, 'di ba kung matatandaan natin, meron tayong yung mga types of businesses like the sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. Of course, board of directors will fall under corporation. Ano ba ang ano ba yung nagko-compose? Paano ka ba magpu-put up ng board of directors? If you remember, during your NTREP mindset or NTREP management or during your senior high school, um, pinag-aralan natin yan, pinag-aralan niyo yan na, yeah, just to refresh. So you can put up a corporation pag inano niyo sa SEC or securities, ire-register niyo sa Securities and Exchange Commission, composing and dapat meron at least 5 board of directors. Tapos isasubmit niyo rin doon yung mga bylaws. So ibig sabihin, yung mga board of directors, sila yung may-ari ng company. So sino si CEO? Kumbaga si CEO, siya yung manager na i-hire ng board of directors. So tingnan niyo na makikita ninyo na napakalaki ng role ng board of directors. Now, dahil palaki ng palaki yung company, like instead of branching out, bakit hindi na lang sila kumuha ng mga investors or mga bibili ng shares of stocks? Kaya may mga ibang corporation like Jollibee, ganun, pwedeng kahit tayo ay makabili ng sariling stocks ng Jollibee. So, ibig sabihin, part owner, meron tayong part ownership doon and kikita tayo. At the same time, yung binili nating shares of stocks, yung pinambili natin, yung pinapaikot ng corporation, right? So, I think, dalawa yung types na, dalawa yung types na, ah, mangyayari or dun sa earnings. Una is yung retained earnings and yung dividends. So, yung dividends, yun yung babalik sa mga shareholders, yung mga kinita nung corporation, nung business. And then, si retained earnings, yun yung matitira naman na pondo ng company. Diba? If you remember your financial management. So, mga FM, alam niyo yan. So, yeah, very basic lang naman yung yung mga theories na yon para lang catch up or ma-remember ng ating mga marketing students. Okay? So, alright. So, as you can see, there is a big role or board of directors play a big role in the corporation. So, ayan. Introduction to corporate structure. A corporation enables diverse parties to contribute capital and expertise for mutual benefits. Shareholders elect directors to safeguard their interests and ensure management accountability. Ayun. So, 'di ba, originally, magpuput up si yung 5 board of directors, right? So, syempre, kung sino yung mga board of directors, usually ang i-elect yung mga, yeah, sila din, silang mag-e-elect na magiging leader, 'no? Kasi siyempre padami na ng padami yung mga mag-i-invest, kunwa. So, they have to also vote for the directors para ma-ensure na kung hindi, they can earn and hindi sila lolokohin. So, it's very critical, no? So, a corporation, sabi nga, yun nga sabi natin, is a structure where different parties contribute capital, expertise, and labor for mutual benefits. And then shareholders should elect directors that represent their interests, establish corporate policies, and oversee top management. Now, ano ba yung corporate governance? Si corporate governance, ito yung relationship among shareholders, directors, and management in determining the corporation's direction and performance. So, syempre, pag sinabing corporate governance, dapat merong good governance dyan. Dapat merong transparency, dapat walang pansariling interest. Kasi nga, yung mga inelect na board of directors, ah, yung anong tawag dito, nakasalalay sa kanilang mga kamay kung yun nga, kung yung mga earnings din ng mga ibang shareholders, 'no? So, okay, concerns have been raised about the effectiveness of boards in monitoring and guiding top management, especially in light of past corporate scandals, ayan lang. So, sino ba yung top management? Si top management yung CEO. 'No? So, if you, remember, I do hope there is annotation in here. Annotate, ayan, kunwari si, BOD, tapos si, ano yun, si CEO, ayan. Tapos si, siyempre yung mga staff, yung mga VP for finance, VP for marketing, ayan, yung mga ano na niya, or mga COO, 'di ba? Under na 'yan. So, ay sorry naman, ano ba 'yan? Wait lang. Nasaan yung annotate natin? Okay. So ito, sorry naman at hindi siya pantay. Ayan. So, si BOD, ito yung mga board of directors. If you remember, sa umpisa, pag i-register, at least 5, right? Pero syempre, paano kapag lumaki ng lumaki, so tayo mag-invest din dito, no? And maybe ito, mas malaki yung share, biglang, may nagbenta dito sa original na BOD, binenta niya dito, so, siya, pwedeng, may say siya, kasi siya yung mas malaking shares doon sa and pwede siyang i-elect din ng ibang shareholder para maging part ng BOD. And then, pag meron ng BOD, sila yung magde-decide or mag-hire ng CEO or yung parang top management. CEO, Chief Executive Officer. Imagine nyo yung mga branch managers, pero syempre si branch yun yung pinakamababang level, yun yung floor managers na tinatawag, 'di ba? Si CEO, ito na yung top management. Kumbaga, yung boss ng mga managers natin. Ito na yung gumagawa ng policies, ayan, ito yung nagma-manage. And syempre dapat itong CEO maging transparent din kasi hinire siya ng BOD, 'no? Kaya lang ang laki parang may mga conflict din kasi kung minsan si CEO nagkakaroon na lang siya ng pansariling interes. So, wala na rin siyang pakialam sa mga BOD and shareholders sometimes at inuuna niya yung sarili niya. So, nagkakaroon ng conflict of interest. So, yun yung kailangang ma-eliminate pagdating sa good governance, no? Okay, I do hope you understood that one. Let me just erase. Okay. Ayan. Alright. So, now, moving on to responsibilities of the board. So, laws and standards governing board responsibilities vary by country. Globally recognized responsibilities of a board include effective leadership, defining the organization's strategy and managing risk, succession planning, and ensuring sustainability. Okay. So, ayan ha. So, yung yung responsibilities ng board, it is different from one country to another. But, of course, syempre, nakalakip na diyan yung parang pinaka-common na lang yung leadership, strategic development, and that is why you are studying this. Kasi malay ninyo maging CEO kayo someday, 'di ba? Risk management, anong risk management? Ito yung pagmi-mitigate or pagle-lessen ng impact ng risk. Like let's say for example sa financial management, 'di ba? Meron kayong mga hedge funds na tinatawag or something like that. Or um, how will you, parang risk mitigation, how will you lessen the effect of risk kapag nagkaroon ng instances na ganyan? So, ano na lang natin, relate natin dito sa everyday living natin. So, risk management dapat iano natin sa ano natin ha, sa government natin, sa public sector. Yung risk management dapat may mga projects na 'yan kasi alam na nila dapat yung impact ng mga typhoons. So, dapat meron na silang flood control. Although may mga sinasabi silang meron na daw flood control projects, but hindi pa rin sapat, 'no? Eh, may mga pondo naman, parang gano'n. So, parang kulang pa din yung strategy kung paano yung flood control and yun, paano mo i-minimize yung impact na yun 'pag nangyari kagaya niyan dito yeah, siyempre sa Manila, dito sa Pangasinan, state of calamity. Um, unexpected na unexpected na ganito kalaki kaagad. What I mean is, ah, last year naman parang wala naman tayong gano'n kalaking flood, right? However, I think the government, just in my opinion, the government failed to look into it because dapat fino-forecast na nila, eh, dapat, hindi pa dumating yung problem, alam na nila dapat na yung mga flood prone areas or alam na din nila dapat yung gagawin para ma-lessen yung impact, yung aftershock, parang gano'n, after effect nung bagyo, which is the flood, right? And that's it. That's risk management. Like, you find ways on how to lessen the effect of that disaster or problem before it happens. Dapat proactive yun. Kaya lang parang kasing ang nangyayari nagiging ano na, normal na. Parang nakasanayan na. Parang, ang masaklap kasi parang niro-romanticize yung pagiging resilient ng Pilipino. So, it's just like the government, not, yeah, fails or is not doing, hindi naman sa walang ginagawa, but it's not enough. Ayan. They are not doing enough mitigation projects that can really satisfy or that can really solve or lessen para sana mas konti na lang sana yung flooded areas. Parang wala lang, 'no? Ang nangyayari na lang is pagde-deliver ng relief goods na yun na yung after effect. Parang yun na lang yung parang ang pinaghahandaan is yung pagbibigay ng relief, hindi yung pagso-solve mismo ng problem. Okay? So, I do hope that you get my point, 'no? So, ayan, sustainability assurance, you remember your sustainability goals, right? Or your triple bottom line. Kailangan, may plan si CEO para magkaroon ng sustainability. Saan? Ano yung ano ulit, triple bottom line natin, yung 3 Ps. Profit, ano ba? Profit, planet, and people, right? If you remember your notes last meeting or our lesson last meetings, okay? Now, additionally, boards must direct but not manage corporations to avoid liability. Yun. So, si board, magda-direct lang. But the management falls on the CEO. Okay? So, next one. Okay, the role of board in strategic management. So, we have three three things, three roles. First one is to what? Monitor. Meron ba akong ano dito? Walang laser point. Ay, mali. Ayan, monitor developments. Second is evaluating management decisions. And of course, determining strategic direction. So first, let's talk about monitoring. So monitoring, ba't nawawala? Ayan. So monitoring, by utilizing the committees, the board can stay informed about internal and external developments within the corporation. So it's the responsibility, no, to monitor what's happening, responsibility of the board, okay? Internal and external developments. So this process ensures that management is aware of all relevant information. So syempre dapat may pakialam pa din si board, right? Ang sabi, they will not be managing, but they will be directing. So how can they direct if they will not monitor what is happening within and outside the corporation, right? So monitoring is important. Next one is evaluating management decisions, or evaluate and influence. So boards have the authority to assess management proposals, decisions, and actions. They can agree or disagree with them, provide advice, suggest alternatives, and influence the direction of the organization. Active boards go beyond monitoring to actively evaluate, influence, and guide strategic decisions. So once they monitor, of course, they will be accepting some proposals. Let's say proposals to increase the sales, or uh to uh proposals for development, for improvement, for risk management. So of course kasi lahat ng 'yan need pag-aralan, because of course it still involves funding, right? So they have to evaluate, kasi baka mamaya yung mga proposal, yung mga projects na i-implement is hindi naman pala talaga magkakaroon ng magandang or malaking impact sa overall benefit ng corporation. So si BOD, okay, si BOD ang kailangang mag-evaluate ng mga 'yan. And initiate and determine, okay, determining strategic decisions. Why can't I where is the, ba't wala siya? Anyway, ayan. Hindi ko mahanap yung laser pointer, but anyway, okay. So, determining strategic direction. Okay, initiate and determine. The most proactive boards take on the responsibility of outlining the corporation's mission and specifying strategic options for management. This task involves setting the strategic direction of the organization in addition to monitoring and evaluating management decisions. Yun na. So, they should already set the direction. You remember, right? Directing ang BOD. Once they monitored, once they evaluate, then they will set the direction, the strategic direction of the organization. Okay? So in essence, the board of directors play a vital role in strategic management by overseeing, evaluating, influencing, and setting the strategic direction of the organization to ensure its long-term success and sustainability. Siyempre, part owner sila, di dapat responsibility din nila yun. May concern dapat sila, no? Kasi damay-damay kapag na-bankrupt. Sayang. So we have the board of directors continuum. So the board's involvement in strategy varies, with phantom boards showing minimal engagement and catalyst boards being actively involved. Research links active participation with better financial performance. So ito yung sinasabi nating board of directors continuum. So low, ibig sabihin passive, wala siyang pakialam. High means active. So ito yung ito dapat yung ideal, si high or active, no? Why? Because, anong sabi? Research indicates that active board participation in strategic management correlates positively with the corporation's financial performance and credit rating. Kesa naman yung phantom dito, never knows what to do, if anything, no degree of involvement, walang paki. Hinahayaan lang si CEO na mag-decide. Pag ganun, may possibility na manloko din si CEO kasi walang nagmo-monitor din sa kanya eh, walang nagbabantay din sa kanyang galaw. So, he or she can do whatever he or she wants. And there might be an instance wherein there's already corruption or there's already conflict of interest. Ayan. So, basahin nyo na lang yan. Basta ito yung lowest, ito yung highest, and ito yung ideal. Okay? So now, moving on. We have keynotes in here. Highly involved boards. Boards that are highly involved and very active in monitoring, evaluating, influencing, and determining strategic decisions. Okay? They provide advice, keep management alert, uh, and play a significant role in strategic management process, often positioned as active participants or catalysts. So sila to. So, as for the levels of influence, public corporations often have periodic board meetings dedicated to reviewing company strategy, but boards may not always have substantial influence in crafting the strategy itself. Boards with high influence typically collaborate with top management to create value, consider global trends, future scenarios, and engage in healthy debates about strategic actions. So under daw ni Catalyst no, may mga ibang board kagaya niyan nagfo-fall under ng phantom up to active participation. So hindi masyadong maimpluwensya, hindi sila masyadong malaki ang influence in crafting the strategy kasi nga wala silang involvement. Whereas, ito siguro pwede pa to si active participation pero mas okay si catalyst. However, kapag involved sila, then they will have high influence kasi may pakialam sila eh, 'di ba? They collaborate, nakikipagtulungan sila sa top management headed by the CEO to create value. Of course, they will also understand global trends and future scenarios. Now, next one is board continuum. Boards operate on a continuum from nominal to active participation with passive phantom boards on the far left and highly active boards on the right. Yun. So, we have the impact of board size. Smaller corporations tend to have less active boards in strategic management, especially in privately held entrepreneurial ventures. Oo din. So, for small corporations, ah, yes, anong tawag dito, siguro nagkakaroon din sila ng meeting, ganun. But they are not so active because, paano ba? Mas nananaig sa kanila yung entrepreneurial, no, no. Mas nananaig sa kanilang personal, nila, interest. What I mean is, ah, pag private or especially in privately held entrepreneurial ventures, hindi nila masyadong pinapakialamanan yung mga CEOs kasi small lang siya. Hindi siya masyadong malaki, hindi masyadong impactful, parang gano'n. Siguro may sarili din silang ibang ventures. So, yun yung daw, findings. So, yan. In privately held firms controlled by founders, yun eh. The board may serve minimal functions until stock is sold to outsiders, prompting increased board activity. Okay. So, okay, anyway. I just want to share my insights but wag na lang. So, anyway. Yeah. They serve minimal functions daw. Okay? But if there is already outsider na open na siyang bumili or nagbebenta na siya ng stocks outside, doon na nagkakaroon ng activity. Kasi syempre kung sila-sila lang din, parang wala naman silang paki basta ang importante kumikita sila, 'di ba? Pero kapag meron ng outsider na shareholder, syempre mananagot sila dun kasi parang pag nagbenta, kunwari ako, may family corporation, kunwari lang. Kunwari ako, may family corporation kami. Kung kami-kami lang na family, hindi na namin iniisip yung mas lalong growth, ganon, or we would not think out of the box as long as it is thriving. Because as long as I'm earning, right? Sa akin naman yun, kami-kami lang din naman yun eh. Pero kapag one of us, or let's say I sold some of my shares to outside investors, syempre, iko-convince ko silang bumili ng shares ko, 'di ba? Shares ng company. So, may pangako ka na dapat i-deliver mo din sa shareholders. So, nagkakaroon ng activity. Nagkakaroon ng paggalaw na gumagalaw yung baso, parang ganon. So, there is already increased board activity because syempre ayaw nilang mapaya or meron nang nangingialam na outsider. Okay? So, transition to public corporations, companies transitioning to public ownership face challenges in board dynamics as stock ownership becomes more dispersed. So, may mga iba nga na ang tawag dito? Dali. Ayan. May mga iba na parang binebenta na rin some of their shares sa government. And ayun, hindi na daw masyadong stock ownership becomes more dispersed daw. And founders may retain control but need to involve the board in strategic decisions to align the shareholders' interests and regulatory requirements, avoiding conflicts like those observed in high-profile IPOs. Ayun. So, balikan natin yung sa pala, yung sinasabi natin na, ano na yun? Yung board size. Yung sinasabi natin na smaller corporations. Sige, sabihin ko na nga. 'Di ba, parang observation ko lang din. So, ang ating is family owned. Alam naman natin 'yan. Ang ating school ay family owned. So, that's why ayan. So, it is a small family business or our founder running their own company. So, dahil nga sila-sila lang, kagaya ng example ko kanina, kunwari kami, yung board, it is usually quiet because kami-kami lang. For example, ako yung part, no? Kami-kami lang yung nagde-decide. The board might just be a legal formality, correct? Or consist of close friends or advisors who don't actively manage strategy. Now, when there's already an outside investor, when the founder sells shares to venture capitalists, angel investors, to get funding, there is already an increased activity. Because why? Of course, sabi ko nga kanina, kung binenta ko yung shares ko sa mga investors, meron na akong accountability. May parang dapat I will live up to their expectations based on how I discussed it to them. Kasi syempre, i-convince ko silang bumili, right? So, there's already an increased board activity because yung new owners, they want a say in how their investment is being used. The board becomes more active and involved in big decisions to protect their money. And going public. So, ano yung IPO? Sabi, ang IPO ay initial public offering. It is when a private company sells its shares to the public for the first time, becoming a publicly traded company on a stock exchange. Okay. So, pag nag-go public sila, selling shares to everyone, okay, the company sells shares on the stock market. Ownership is spread among thousands of public shareholders. So, sorry about the misconception earlier. So, when you say public, the public as in tayo. Okay, tayong lahat. So, what changes? The company sells shares on the stock market, ownership is spread among thousands of public shareholders. So there is also a change, a dramatic change. The board must become much more active and independent. Why? Because the board's main job is now to look out for the interests of all those public owners. And so rules should be stricter. Public companies have strict legal and regulatory requirements. The board ensures the company follows them. Now, they still have to avoid conflicts. Founders might still run the company day to day, but they can't just do whatever they want. The board acts as a check to make sure founder decisions also benefit all shareholders, not just the founders. Yun. High-profile IPO problems often happen when founders ignore the board or shareholders. Yun na nga, 'di ba? Yung kung natatandaan ninyo kung nagsisimula pa lang, sila-sila lang yung board of directors, at ba at least 5. Pag lumaki ng lumaki, naging open na sa public. So, dun na nagkakaroon din ng conflict of interest yung mga founders. Siyempre feeling nila entitled sila kasi sila yung nagpatayo, but they should not ignore the board or the shareholders kasi mas marami na sila, open na sa public, kumbaga mas marami yung shares nila, parang ganun, or nagko-compose nung totality nung pagmamay-ari ng corporation, no? Okay, so there you go. Those are what the impact of the board size. Now, moving on to, yun na pala board composition. Okay, inside directors are officials from the firm, while outside directors represent other firms. A higher ratio of outsiders does not guarantee better financial returns, and board compositions vary globally. Okay? So, hindi daw porke mas marami yung tagalabas, outside director is mas magiging okay na. So, nakadepende pa din. The role and impact of outside directors. Outside directors offer unbiased evaluations and are often required for majority board representation. Their involvement can lead to growth through innovation and mitigate risks of misconduct. Siyempre, kasi pag within lang, sila-sila lang. So, dapat merong tagalabas para makita talaga yung kabuuang senaryo, no? And siyempre, kumbaga may mag-o-audit, parang gano'n, may mag-check kung anong nangyayari sa loob. Yun. And we have two theories, stewardship versus agency theory. So agency theory suggests that managers prioritize personal gain over shareholder interests, while stewardship theory posits that executives are motivated to ensure corporate success as their own. So si agency, ang sinasabi daw sa agency theory, ang pansariling gain lang daw ang iniisip ng mga CEO, no? Instead na dun sa shareholder. Samantalang si agency theory, naniniwala na ang CEO, lalo na kung part daw siya mismo talaga ng may special place si corporation sa kanyang heart. So, meron siya talagang malasakit for the corporation, and that is the stewardship, na ini-ensure niya na the corporate or the corporation will be successful. Will be successful under their management. Okay? So, ayan. Yung additional notes will still be in your handouts. So, ito lang ay brief para lang sa ating lecture, okay? So, now, moving on to the role of top management. Top management, primarily led by the CEO, is responsible for executing strategies aligned with corporate objectives. They drive the organization's overall welfare. yung sinasabi natin, si CEO, part ni top management, 'di ba? Kumbaga siya yung manager o top manager o CEO, siya yung pinakamataas na manager. Pero si CEO actually, hina-hire 'yan ng mga board of directors. Ngayon, puwede bang ang isang board of director ay puwedeng maging CEO din? Siguro puwede, depende kung talagang may kakayahan siya, okey? Ayun, puwede siya puwede siya basta may kakayahan siya, although hindi anong tawag dito, hindi maikakaila na there is a potential para sa conflict of interest, ayan. So, kailangan bantayan din mabuti. And okay, next one, responsibilities. So the CEO leads diverse teams towards achieving objectives with roles tailored to specific firm needs. Research shows diversity enhances market performance and profitability. So, syempre maraming teams 'yan, maraming naman ang nag-composition ng isang company, right? Ano ba, 'di ba may mga iba't ibang business functions. So, yun yung ima-manage ni CEO, i-o-oversee niya. Next one, oh yeah, and of course the strategic planning process, right? Feedback, learning, and whatsoever. Balikan ninyo yung ano, yung figure dun sa unang lesson natin. Executive leadership and strategic vision. So effective executive leadership fosters a strong organizational culture. Successful CEOs convey strategic vision, set high standards, and exemplify desired behaviors for effective employee engagement. So, yan yung sinasabi natin, 'di ba? Ah, sila actually yung nag-i-implement ng strategy. Iga-guide lang si CEO ng board, but the execution falls under the CEO. So, ah, siya na yung mag-i-implement ng mga activities, ayan, to achieve corporate objectives. Hmm, what else? For I mean, to be a successful CEO, a CEO should have a strategic vision and of course, passion for their company. Dynamic and charismatic leadership is crucial for high firm performance and investor confidence, especially in uncertain environments. So, ayun, pagdating din sa leadership style, dynamic daw and charismatic yung maganda. Transformational leaders like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Howard Schultz energized their corporations at crucial junctures. When you say transformational leadership, guys, ano yun kasi long term, talagang sa strategy. So, si CEO, siya yung, 'di ba? Siya yung nakatoka sa long term. Yung mga floor or middle management natin, floor managers or middle management, sila lang nakatoka sa mga short term. Pero siyempre nakadepende dun sa mandato yung pinaka long term goal. Paano i-implement si long term goal? Ang mag-execute dun sa mga frontliner siyempre si floor manager, right? So, yon yung ano, parang pag short term lang. So, pagdating sa ano, sa leadership style, kadalasan puwedeng mag-implement for strict compliance si autocratic para hindi maging pasaway yung mga frontliners, gano'n. Or puwede rin na anong tawag dito, puwede rin na, ah, transformational in the sense na meron din siyang pang long term goal para sa kanyang department. Okay, pero kadalasan kasi it's more on the compliance, the execution of the rules and regulations. So, malamang, mas mananaig si autocratic pagdating sa floor management. But when it comes to long term, diyan papasok si transformational. When you say transformational, you're going to transform the scenario. There should be a catalyst for change, a big change. And you cannot implement change in just a few years. Parang ang hirap naman nun, 'di ba? One example of okay, outside strategic management, outside business, one of the famous, um, transformational leaders would be Pope Francis. Why? We all know that Catholicism is very strict, right? Like like, it is against the LGBT community because why? Because dun sa doctrines daw wala naman talagang gano'n, ang ginawa si male and female lang, for example. But under, Pope Francis, naging ano siya, eh, transformational leadership. Kasi parang ngayon unti-unting niyakap ng Catholicism ang LGBT. Like sabi parang as long as because it ano, nagbubuklod is love or whatsoever, parang gano'n. Pero against pa din siyempre sa same-sex marriage. Like they can be, I mean, they can love themselves through their sexuality or they can embrace themselves. The Catholics or yeah, Catholicism embraces them, welcomes them. But still, it is not okay for same-sex marriage, 'di ba? Parang gano'n. But that's already a big change when it comes to, uh, when it comes to the norms and you know that ang sinundan niya is si Pope Benedict. Pope Benedict is very, ah, anong tawag dito? Pope Benedict is very traditional, ayan. Traditional sa doctrine. So, hindi siya open-minded. And then here comes Pope Francis na medyo open-minded siya, no? So, ayan. That's just an example, no, for, dun sa transformational leadership. And challenges of overconfident executive. Overconfidence can lead CEOs to ignore dissenting opinions and make risky decisions, potentially harming shareholder value, as seen in high-profile acquisitions. Yun lang. So, um, minsan may mga CEOs tayo na very confident and, ah nag-e-exhibit sila ng hubris. Ano yung hubris? Ito yung parang blindness towards contrary information and risky decision making. Parang masyado siyang confident kahit na yung numbers, kahit na yung data ay parang nagsasabi na hindi 'to okay na investment, for example. May mga numbers naman, may quantitative data na nagsasabi sa kanya, the numbers ah speak for itself. But this CEO is overconfident and that he or she disregards the data, no? And he or she is being blind towards that information and still push through the risk. Alam naman natin na siyempre ang pagiging CEO or entrepreneur na gano'n is, being a risk taker. But mind you, always remember, you should take calculated risk, right? That's why there's data. However, minsan nakakalimot si CEO, may mga lalo na yung mga batikan ng CEO or talagang na meron na siyang pangalan, meron ng napatunayan, sometimes dahil sa gano'n yung ego din nila, naging overconfident sila and thinking na malalampasan nila kahit na tagilid. So, kailangan yun i-avoid ng mga CEOs natin. So, okay, that's all. Okay. Ah, and this will be our last, I think, last lecture for prelims. So, sana ay humupa na ang bagyo at ano, makapasok na tayo. Para hindi tayo ma-delay for the quizzes. Basta, one time, big time na lang ang ating quizzes. Mag-review ng mabuti. Um, yeah, intindihin mabuti and I will be distributing the handouts pag face-to-face na natin. So, kunwari, may pasok na tayo ng Monday, magdi-distribute ako ng handouts sa Monday, tapos ang magiging quiz ay sa Friday na lang para meron pa kayong time to review. But of course, you need to still listen to this lecture kasi somehow nabanggit ko naman na rin yung ibang nasa handout. Although hindi naman talagang comprehensive unlike the handout, pero at least you will already get the gist or you will already have an understanding about the topic. Hindi na rin kayo masyadong maghahabol. So, see you around and stay safe.